Hello, I'm Matthew First, an instructor for the Computer Workshop. And in this week's video, what I'm going to discuss is a common question that I get from a lot of people that are interested in starting with web development is where do I start? So, where you should start with web development is there are three languages that you really want to start with. There's HTML, there's CSS, and there is JavaScript. The first one to start with is HTML. It stands for the Hypertext Markup Language. It is a standard markup language for creating web pages. It describes the structure of your web page, basically, what do you want to present to your user. It consists of a series of elements, and the elements tell the browser how to display the content. So if we take a look over here at this HTML file, again, HTML is a markup language, so it's a series of element tags inside of less than and greater than signs. And again, it tells the browser how you want to display the structure of your document. So here I've got some heading tags. I've got the capabilities of putting a title, which appears on my title bar. I can put in other things like JavaScript and CSS, which I'll talk about here in a second. But down here is the main body or the structure of my document. I'm going to present a heading of this is my heading. I can put in paragraph marks. I can do divisions to mark up certain places of my document. And then I can put buttons that will give me the capabilities of potentially doing some interactivity with the web page. The next thing is CSS, cascading style sheets. So, with cascading style sheets, this describes how HTML elements are to be displayed on screen, paper, or other media. And with cascading style sheets, it allows us to control the formatting of the page. So it can save us a lot of work because we can control multiple pages with at once using CSS. And CSS style sheets can be stored as external files, or we could put the style in line with our HTML. So most cases, what you're going to see with CSS is it is going to be a external file. So I've got my CSS.css file here. And what I can do is I can specify the formatting of elements inside of my HTML document. So I can target them by using the tag information. So in this case, if I wanted to set the font weight of my paragraph to bold, if I wanted my header to have a color blue, if I wanted my division text to be in red, I can go in and specify the property and the value that I want to set to my CSS. So over here in my index.html, what I did here is I've added a link to that CSS file. So now what's going to happen is any place I have a H1, I'm going to apply a blue color to it. Any place that I have a paragraph mark, it's going to be bolded and the color is going to be aqua. So if I had a multiple web pages making up my website, I could apply this one CSS to all of my pages to get that standard look and feel across all of my different web pages. The last thing I have is JavaScript. JavaScript is the programming language of the web, and JavaScript programs the behavior of your web pages. So without JavaScript, basically your web pages would be that static page that you were used to if you went back to the early days of the web. What JavaScript does is it allows us to program behavior into our systems. The official name nowadays of JavaScript is ECMCA script, is the official name of the language. It became a ECMCA standard in 1997. And one thing to watch out for, a lot of people think Java and JavaScript are the same language or JavaScript is a subset of Java. Well, they're actually completely different languages, both in concept and design. Java is a fully object-oriented programming language, which you can use to build anything from an operating system to services to desktop applications. JavaScript is the programming language of web pages. It's the scripting language that you would use inside your web pages. You can use JavaScript other places, but for the most part, JavaScript is the programming language of the web. It's how we get things done on our web pages. So if I switch back here to my code, if we take a look here at my script.js, what I've done here is I've created a function and I've got an alert which is going to give me a pop up box in the browser with the message that I clicked on a button. So, how I tie my JavaScript back to my HTML is if I go here to my index.html, I've got this script block. I could put the JavaScript code directly in a script block, or I can use the src attribute to link to an external file. The advantage of putting this in an external file, if I need to use this code on multiple pages, I could add the same script block to multiple HTML pages and use any of the JavaScript that is stored in that file on my pages. So in my case, what's happening here is I linked the JavaScript file, myscript.js, in the head section. I have a button on my form that when I click on this button, it's going to call my function. So I've got a button that's going to be labeled click me. When I click on it, it's going to go out and pop up that message. So if I go out here and I run my HTML page, what we're going to see here is the structure of the document is being provided by my HTML. So this is my paragraph, this is my division, here's my button. All of that is defined in my HTML. Where I'm getting the blue, light blue, and red is coming from my CSS. So if I switch here to my CSS, so my paragraph is here, it's getting the bolding, and it's in the aqua color. My division is down here, and it's getting the red color from my CSS. And then my header is getting the blue color from the CSS from this definition here. When I click on my button here, click me, I get this, you clicked on the button. Well, where this is coming from is on my index.html page, I've got my button here calling or including my JavaScript file, and it's calling my function. If we look back here at javascript.js, this is what gives me you click the button. So when I click on this alert box, you click the button, is coming from my JavaScript code. So to get started with web development, the recommendation is learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. There are a lot of frameworks and a lot of libraries that do make web development easier, but all of them are based off of these base technologies. HTML, which creates the structure of your page, CSS, which does the formatting, and JavaScript, which is going to give you that interactive, the robust capabilities of the application. So, my recommendation is if you're looking to get started in uh, web development, start with the basics, start with HTML, cascading style sheets, and JavaScript. And then from there, you can then move into the other technologies, the other frameworks. But ultimately, those frameworks and libraries are going to tie back to these three technologies. So I would like to thank you for your time. Hopefully, you got something out of this video. Please like us and subscribe to our channel. And also check out our classes and other information about us on our website, which is www.tcworkshop.com. Again, thank you for your time.